I'm Perla Havate, and welcome to the storytelling project of the Coalition of Manitoba Cultural Communities for Families. Our focus is on telling stories of immigrants and those who experience being a refugee, about how they experience social justice by paying attention to how diversity and inclusion of people, values, and beliefs have impacted their lives, their families, and communities. We are interested in learning what has worked well and could be better in our city. We are happy to have with us at this time Monica Pradham, who will be sharing her story. Monica arrived in Canada with a master's degree in science and later earned a diploma, a second master's degree, and a PhD in agricultural science at the University of Manitoba. She now works as plant diagnostic pathologist for the Manitoba Government Department of Agriculture. She runs a restaurant, has a financial advising business, and a community volunteer during her spare. So welcome, Monica.
Thank you.
Please tell us who you are, how long you have been in Canada, and which community you identify with.
My name is Monica Pradhan. I came from Bhutan and I have been here for last 30 plus years.
Okay.
And I am, to say which community, I am Nepali Bhutanese community. I represent both the communities. And to tell you something about myself, I was born and brought up in Bhutan,
Yes.
and my earlier years was in my village. And then after that, I went to my high school, then finished my high school. Then I went to do my degrees in India. First
Okay.
degree I did in Darjeeling, India,
Okay.
and my master's degree the one that you told, like I just said that I had master's degree from there. I did from India too. That's from Agra University.
Okay.
And both the cities, I hope you remember that these two are famous. One for Darjeeling tea, like
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yes.
and the other one is for its famous Taj Mahal, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world at times.
So now we know when we're drinking our tea where it's coming from.
The best one.
Okay, just to put context in what we will be talking about, can you relate to us growing up in that small village, how your childhood was, your family, and the practices and values that you practice at home?
Right. Okay. So as I told you, like my name is Monica Pradhan, and I was born and brought up in a small village called Chargare. It's southwestern Bhutan, and now it has been renamed as Sangacholing, and it lies in Samchi Gewak district. It's Zamsi Zongkak, we call it in Dzongkha. That's Bhutanese language.
Okay.
Dzongkak is the district. Yeah. So, and I hope you know Bhutan is a small country nested in the Himalayas, and it is known to the world as GNH country. That's gross national happiness instead of GNP or GDP. So that's where I come from, and I am amongst the 10 children in the family.
Okay.
I used to have 3 brothers, older brothers, 3 older sisters, and 3 younger sisters. So I'm the middle of all 3s.
Okay.
So while I was growing up in the village, like we were going to school, I lost my mother when I was very young. I hadn't even started my schooling. Probably I was maybe almost 5, hadn't gone to school. She passed away in October, and I started my schooling in January because we have a January to December schooling period, school period. And so my childhood, being a village girl, I used to go to school with my brothers and sisters, and in the spare time we used to go and look after the, like cattle, the goats, and that's why like
Okay.
sometimes people call me a good girl. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and the outside we used to have lots of outside activities. Unlike our children, like who are here, it's very very restricted outside.
Mhm.
Like we do have outside activities, but then you have to pay tons of loads of money to do
Yes.
that. There, like we didn't have to, so that is one plus point that we used to have. And also like I completed my elementary, as I
Okay.
said. Then I went to the high school,
Okay.
a little away from my, maybe a day's journey from my village, and stayed in the hostel. And in hostel, I used to be a hostel captain
Mhm.
when from grade 7 to grade 10. And so we used to look after the younger children, like younger, like the girls. It was the girls' hostel and the boys' hostel used to be. So I used to look after. That was not my duty, but then like we all volunteered to look after the younger children there.
Can you still
And-
recall any of the values that you have or practices you have in the family?
Yes, like the values and the practices is like when you live in a family, like we always listen to our parents
Mhm.
and we look after our, like younger siblings, and we respect our elders, and we respect so much that everybody in the village becomes our uncles and aunts.
Okay.
Yes, they are all our relatives. We cannot do any wrong things.
Right.
Or if like you cannot go and steal or anything from anywhere.
Okay.
That's a very very wrong moral.
Okay. So you practically don't need the police to make sure that you behave properly because you're surrounded by
Exactly,
everyone.
our elders. Yes.
Your elders.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay. So I'm wondering if the community where you grew up, the small village and the bigger village, are there values that they have that is different from the values that you practice in the home?
Not really. Like in Bhutan is small country, and we have very everyone in your village, and in most of the cities are outside. Your family members are there. I told you, like anybody from your village is your uncle and aunts. If they're moving to some other place, so you have a family out there too. So we all treated everyone like your family.
Your family?
Yes.
Okay. So when you moved to the bigger city, did you find different groups of, or is it a pretty much homogeneous community?
In the sense, like, I mean, celebrating, going to picnics, and doing the wedding ceremonies and things like that.
Mhm.
We were kind of homogeneous, but at the same time we also had some, there are in southern Bhutan we have Hindus, a lot of Hindus. Then I myself is a Buddhist, but we did not differentiate that. However, there were some differences, like you have your own rituals and you have your own rituals, and so we get separated that time.
Mhm.
And like people, also there are different castes, so one caste cannot go to or cannot marry different caste, so those things are still like used to be
Still have
there.
the caste system.
It used to be there. Like now people are getting better and better, like not they want to solidify into one, but still there is some, yes.
So during your time, how did you navigate the differences with the caste system, with the differences in religion?
We whenever we had friends from lower caste, we always took them to our house. We we said, like, okay, you and I, we are good friends, so we'll sit together, we eat. But when our parents came or our elders came, we said, like, okay, let's go to the outside sitting room or balcony kind of thing. you cannot come inside the house. So we used to do that too.
Okay.
That was younger days. And after, when we moved to the bigger city, that became more, blended.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm telling you this, my experience only in the southern Bhutan, where most people are Nepali origin. And in Bhutan, we are there are two different types. Like one is Nepali origin, another one is Tibetan origin. Like it's called Bhutanese Dzongkha. Like they speak the language, and the people from Nepali origin, they speak Nepali. So we have two different, like total
Ethnic
culturally
groups.
ethnic groups. Yes.
Okay. So, where do you identify yourself, Nepali or Bhutanese?
Since I was born and brought up in a Nepali community, I identify with the Nepali community.
Okay.
However, we always practiced, we always, respected and revered the Bhutanese culture. And I had several of my, Dzongkha speaking, or we call Sharsopis Easterners, and we are Lochams, we are the Southerners, and there's the Ngaons, which are the Central.
Okay.
So we different groups, like Quebecers, Ontarians, Manitobans, kind of thing. So we used to have that,
Okay.
but then we all respected each other, and we all ate. If I cooked any kind of curries, they used to eat, and if they cooked any kind of, cooking style is a little bit different again. So we enjoyed each other, we enjoyed people, we enjoyed each other. So that was the main thing in the bigger city, and also in what can we call, Bhutanese Dzongkha speaking people, they are matriarchal
Okay.
society.
Right.
So girls always had an upper hand in the house.
Okay.
So we would be the boss in the house. So that was the better
Okay.
thing.
So, you come from a country known for its concept of gross national happiness to measure the nation's well-being. Has the matter of social justice, diversity, and inclusion ever came up as an issue?
This GNH, this perception or this ideology, it's a philosophy, it's an ideological philosophy that was, started by the fourth king, King Jigme Singye Wangchuck. He was the king when we were there, and he started, and he was coronated in 1972.
Okay.
But GNH in Buddhism has been always there. In Bhutan has always been there. In 1700s also they have those scripts where if they translate whatever we're thinking.
Mhm.
And the government, now more so than those days, from the beginning, they had this incorporated into the government planning policies.
Mhm.
So it was always there, but it was kind of philosophical, ideological, that I said.
Mhm.
But over the time now it has changed. It has practices, how people's perception on it has changed. For a certain period, there was no issue.
Mhm.
But in any country or anywhere, when there are two different ethnic people are living, there is all kind of tension, right? So some people are there, they don't understand what's going on, and some people are there, they want to rule the person,
Yes.
the other sect. So when that happens, and that kind of feeling came in late 80s, when there is a revolution or there is some kind of agitation in the country, things doesn't go the way you want, right?
Okay.
We didn't want to leave the country,
Okay.
but we couldn't stay on both sides, so we said we don't want to
Mhm.
be in, so we left.
So
That's
now you're in Canada.
Yes.
Can you let us know how the transition went from coming from your country to Canada? How was the transition like? How did you like Canada?
Well, the Canadian journey was like when we came out of Bhutan. We said like we didn't know where we were going because Bhutan is where we were born. Bhutan is where we were like we studied our everything, like even the rocks and stones. They know us.
Okay.
Bhutan is a small country. We knew probably 90% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
Being me and my husband both one of the most say educated couple, so we knew maybe 90% of the population, including villagers from different villages. So that was it was heart and soul of ours was Bhutan, and still it's Bhutan. But when we came to Canada, we said like a Canadian. We had Canadian friends, expats, expatriates in Bhutan, and they said we said maybe we don't want to just get into this. Then they said how about Canada? And we said yeah, how about Canada? So we had no knowledge except that when we were in grade 3, we studied. There's the BC lumberjacks, the fishing in eastern provinces, and the plain prairies. We had learned that. So we came from Bhutan is a mountainous country. It's a beautiful mountainous country, and we said okay, maybe we'll go to Canada, and I believe it has a lot of prairies. It's a prairie land.
Okay.
And Canadian government, they matched us with, I don't know, probably since we were supposed to start our new journey in life. Mm-hmm. So people from the mountains, all on the flat prairies, they matched us with Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. And we came to Winnipeg, and we said okay, we came in August. It was beautiful. And we said yeah, it's beautiful. The weather is so nice, and Canada is really good. Then come September, it started snowing. Then it was cold and cold and cold and cold. And we said oh yeah, we had snow. We used to have snow in Bhutan.
Okay, up in the mountains.
Up in the mountains, even where we stayed, it was for 4,000 to 5,000 feet above the sea level. So we used to get occasional, at least 3 times a year we used to get. So we got the snow. Then we said okay, it's we had this, but it kept on coming and coming and coming and never went. And we said is it really? So the transition, when we came there was a welcome place where we stayed. Mm-hmm. And then after some time, people came to meet us, and then we found out one good thing about here is people are friendly. And no wonder it said friendly Manitoban. We were just wondering what it was, but it proved that friendly Manitoban was. And it was hard. We we had everything. I know people say back in Bhutan is still, in quotation, it is the happiest country in the world, but still under third world country, developing country, right? So we came from that country, and if I tell you we had everything, we had the microwave, we had the fridge, we had everything. So we came to Winnipeg, and we were in, I was telling you about all the snowing.
Yes.
And snow, it was, we were so intrigued by the snow that, oh yeah, they have snow here. We used to have snow back in Bhutan too. But it kept on coming. And later on we said oh God, no, it's not. But still we stayed in Winnipeg. And it was hard in terms of getting jobs and things like that, because it was a recession time. It was 1992, and it was recession. Canada was under recession, so we couldn't find jobs. So both of us, me and my husband, we went to get the, experience.
Yes.
Experience, Canadian experience. So we went doing volunteer in government. So I went to agriculture and my husband went to education because he's from education.
So you did that on your own, as a way of
Yeah, we
setting yourself,
Exactly.
preparing yourself to get jobs. Are there any, at that time, were there government services and programs for newly arrived immigrants at that time?
yes, there were. Yeah, Welcome Place helped us very much.
Right.
And
okay.
Hai was one of them. He had just started his work, I think a couple of months, suppose. Hai was there.
That's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Yeah. Carlos was there.
Yes, Carlos was
Yeah.
there. Yes.
Carlos took us looking for houses, and then we said like, okay, take us to a safer, community, not
Neighborhood?
community, what
Yeah.
the environment, the
Yes.
locality,
Neighborhood, yeah.
the neighborhood,
Okay.
and he took us to East Kildonan, and we stayed on Watt Street for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah. So they helped us. It was so interesting. When we came here, since we did not have Bhutanese passport or we did not have any other documents, we came as Red
You
Cross.
came as refugees, right?
Um,
What was your status coming to
it was very interesting. Like we were like a refugee, but we were not given refugee status there because
Okay.
we were in India. They refused to give Bhutanese refugee status.
Okay.
So, and we did not have Bhutanese passport to travel, and Canadian government said they will take us. We had no travel document. Travel.
Okay.
So it was we were in in between stone and hard rock kind of thingy.
Mhm.
So we said like now what to do. Then we went to the Canadian government like embassy and said like, okay, since nobody's giving us the travel document, I don't think we can go. They said like, no, this doesn't work. And they asked because they what do you call that, International Refugee High Commission.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything because Indian Home Ministry did not want to do that, give us anything. So no documents.
Mhm.
So finally, Red Cross gave us.
Okay.
So they gave us, and as soon as we came here, we had to send that document to Geneva.
Mhm.
So we sent it to Geneva. We had red passport. Coming here.
Oh, but it was a temporary.
Or is it temporary? We had to send it.
Temporary, okay.
Yes. So we were refugees, but we were not given that. Like they said, like as soon as you land here, you're landed immigrant. So you don't have to worry about it.
It's the first time I hear about that.
It was such a complicated situation we were in.
Okay.
So that was,
So you got the services
Services.
for refugees.
yes, we got.
Okay.
And we were, so about 10 months they helped us. 6 months it went, like looking the house, they're here and there, like me and my husband, we used to go around, take a bus, go around all over the city. So that's how we know most of the, like roads and in Winnipeg City now, like when people talk about any road, I said like, okay, it's over there.
Okay.
So we used to go round and round in the bus. We wanted to know the city.
Okay.
And we volunteered in the government because we went looking for jobs and like we couldn't find jobs.
Mhm.
And because, like you are always, that's the famous statement that you are too overqualified or you do not have the experience. So
Yes.
things happen like that. So once we got in, then we into the government. That was also on Gary Street. We went and approached some immigration people that we wanted to work in the government as a volunteer, because somebody from Welcome Place said that there was no Manitoba start,
Okay.
so we didn't get anything from them, and we went for CLB for the language test, and they said like you have better than what we have, so they didn't want to take us and put into some trainings or things like that. They didn't want to.
Okay.
So, so we were discarded from so many places like that way.
Okay.
And I told you about my experience with Women's Immigrant Center.
Okay.
That I went and I wanted to make my resume. I never used, like Word. Like I never operated myself to do things like that.
Okay.
Somebody else used to do it, and they wanted me to do it, and they said like, oh, you know nothing, you go back, learn something and come back. I said like, if I cannot do here, where do you think I can go and learn now? Like this. So I didn't go back. So things happened that way. But then like the Safeway incident was so sweet when we went to buy things. It's like, hi, how are you?
Okay.
And my husband tells me, do you know her? I said like, no, do you? Like, no. Okay. Yeah, we are good. Oh, thank you, and all that. Then, so then we knew people are very friendly. And when we moved to the new place, another family came from Bozesor with their, like garden vegetables and bread and things like that to greet us in the house. It was so heartwarming. We felt so good, and we thought like we landed in a good country.
The good country.
Yes, and because Bhutan, we always thought Bhutan was the best, and Canada is no less. That's what we thought.
Okay, that's great. So, do you think there should have been, or was there a service that could have helped you make it a little better in your transition, finding jobs and settling down eventually here in Winnipeg?
You know what? Your community counts. Okay.
Okay.
You have Filipino community. You have a huge community. When we first came in, we did not have anybody. We are the first Bhutanese to have settled in Canada, not only in Winnipeg,
In
let
Canada?
alone in
Wow.
Canada. So we had no one here. We didn't know anybody.
Okay.
And now we say Nepali community just because our ethnicity, we are in Nepali community. That time we knew no one from Nepal either, and we knew no one that was like people were here from Nepal.
Mhm.
So there were a couple, but then like we didn't know them either, right? So we did not have, and it was very tough. So if you have your community established now, like people will just Google,
Mhm.
okay, any Nepalis in Winnipeg.
Okay.
Tons of names comes, and Chitra Pradhan is there with his phone number, everything, his house number, everything on.
Okay.
Yeah, they can find, and people even people who don't know us, they will phone us that we are in Winnipeg, we need some help, and we go and help. So
I am curious, being the first couple to come to Canada, is immigration not a general practice of people from Nepal and Bhutan? They don't go out of the country?
Nepal,
And settle?
yes, I believe because I do not know much about Nepal as such, like Nepal as a country,
Okay.
the people. I know my ethnicity, that's all I know about
Okay.
Nepal because I am from Bhutan. So from Bhutan, we never thought of, like my husband studied in England for 5-6 years. He never thought of staying back there.
Okay.
And my friends, and I studied outside too. And we never thought of establishing outside or emigrating outside. We never thought of that. We always came back to Bhutan. Even people studying for 7 years, and even they came to Canada. They did masters in New Brunswick. A lot of my friends, they came to Canada, New Brunswick, Fredericton, University of New Brunswick. They all went back. We never thought, no Bhutanese thought that we can stay outside. I don't know why.
That brings me to the next question. Are there similarities in systems, you would think, because people in Bhutan
Yeah.
really measure happiness as, people's well-being being first and foremost.
Exactly.
So are there systems that are similar with the systems we have here?
Yes, and yes, Yes, and we had better sometimes, and
Okay.
some things are better here.
Can you share?
Okay, like in Bhutan, likewise, like in Canada, we have up to grade 12, we have universal education. Like everything is paid off by the government, or paid for by the government for the students. In Bhutan, we are paid throughout. We used to be not. They still do it. Like in Bhutan, if you are a good student, you want to study, up to grade 12, everything is free. Then you want to go and do first degree within Bhutan, everything is free. Outside Bhutan, everything is free. They will even pay your travel, your airfare, going to India or going to States or going anywhere to
They
study.
will pay for
Yes,
that? Okay.
they used to. And health system, like in Canada, we do have Mandela Health, right?
Right.
Yeah. But there are certain prescriptions that we cannot get reimbursed unless you have medical insurance, right?
Okay.
It's government, they do not. But in Bhutan, if you are sick, you go to the hospital, it's their problem now, not family's problem, that you have to take out money and get this, you are a sick person to be, treated. Government pays. All the prescriptions, you go to the doctor, you get the prescription, you go to the pharmacy, because it's attached to the hospital, whichever hospital is there. And you go there, they will give you the medicine, you go. And in the villages, they are called BHU, basic health units.
Okay.
Still there are, those health units are there, and they have a lot of medicines and things like that. In the villages, they go and get medicines free. And or the compounders, we call compounders, like in the male nurses or the female nurses, they are there, and there are similar things in health, in education, there and here, but we have a little bit more there. But I can tell you that because in Bhutan we have a low population, right? We have about 700 to 800,000 people there. Here, one city will have 800,000 people, so it's hard to get do that to everyone.
Okay.
And the only thing there, I think we find, or I find, and we talk, our people also, me and my husband talk, people are more freer here while talking, they can express anything they want.
Mm-hmm.
They can do there too, but there's always a limit. And also, GNH is there, and GNH has so many, they have so many parameters, how the indicators, what can be done, because it goes into, I'll tell you, there are 9 different things, because people always say GNH is, that's just a philosophical word people are using, and they want to cover up so many things.
Right.
But actually it has been quantified.
Yes.
And how they did was they did surveys and they did studies and they did like that, and they linked everything into happiness. Yeah. So how then they categorized into, people are happy, sufficiently happy, they are a little happy, they are not happy, they are not yet happy, like those, they have the categories. And I don't remember all 9, but I think I have a seat
That's
here somewhere.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I said gross national happiness started as a guiding philosophy and ideology in the government and development processes by the 4th King, and it kept on. And over the years, many different conferences and discourses have happened all around the world, and that led to increasing elaboration and development of this concept, as well as its practice. It's not only your ideology that you are just putting it in, you are practicing, you are quantifying that. So, and index has been established with domains and indicators utilizing degrees of happiness.
So are people really happy?
Yes. So what are the domains? There are 9 domains. Psychological well-being. Then health, education. I told you a little bit about health and education. When you get all education, your health taken care of, people's psychology will be like well-being is already increased. So things are all interlinked. And culture, and people also time use. People they do a little gardening, they do this, they do that. Their time usage is phenomenal. Yeah. People, agriculture people there, we have one crop here. I am an agriculturist here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We have one crop, maybe 2 crops if we are cropping winter crops. Okay. There we usually have 3 croppings a year. We have all sorts of, so self-sufficiency, sustainability
Right.
comes in there. So, and good governance, that's like in the political, this and that. Like, good governments and community vitality. Like people enjoy people. They go on picnics. They just have to have a small reason to celebrate, and they do it. The community vitality, ecological diversity and resilience. Like Bhutan is the greenest country in the world. Like we have 67 to 68% of the whole country is green. So, and living standards. And living standard is not like how many $1 million you have in the bank. It's like if you have like sufficient to eat, and like your living standard, and your clothing, people are happy. Yes. So those things are equally weighted as they are equally responsible for happiness. And they also have, so I told you, like sufficiently happy, not yet happy, and unhappy. People are unhappy sometimes. Like, we are all, we have that. It's a human notion that we want more and more. That's always there. Yeah, it's human, like human to err. So that's.
And you said you were the pioneers in coming over to Canada, and people started coming from your community.
From my community, like our community, when we came here, we tried to mingle with other communities. Then after some time, in 2007, we formed an association with Nepali community from Nepal.
Okay.
And there were a couple, families from India, and us.
Okay.
Then there were a couple families from Bhutan to Nepali, ethnic Nepali families. So we were there together. So we made that. Then people started coming in. There were quite a few people now. Then 2008, the international refugees, like Canada and US, they made not law or something like that, then government that they will sponsor 60,000 in US and 7,000 in Canada, or 5,000 in Canada.
Okay.
Bhutanese refugees from Nepal, because whatever, all the refugees from Bhutan, whoever came out went to Nepal.
Okay.
There they were given the status. So, and we didn't go there, so we did not have that status.
Okay.
So we got into thick soup.
So your community now that you consider your community is composed of Nepali, Bhutanese, and some East Indian as well.
Yes. How we are doing this is we are culturally binding, not with your, like ethno-cultural council.
Right.
Like we are ethnically bound, and also we are culturally bound, right?
Okay.
So likewise, there are I don't know how many thousands from India, right? So we couldn't take them all. So yeah, so we are ethnically, culturally bound. If you are practicing, it doesn't matter which, like where you come from. People come from Burma, from Thailand, from India, from Nepal, from Bhutan.
They can be part of it.
Part of it, yes.
I can be a member of that too.
You can, if you are culturally, like culturally with us. You'll have to put on our dress
Okay.
during the festivals.
Oh, that's really great. How do you find this community, this bigger community of yours, relating with the much wider community here in Winnipeg, considering that our community in Winnipeg is composed of many, less than 100 different ethnic groups. How are you relating with them?
We are I know we recognize all the communities in here, like ethnocultural communities, and also we are good friends with them, and sometimes we go to their celebrations and we have friendships, and we go to temples, and we respect their culture. They come to ours and we go to theirs. So we are good. Nepali people are, ethnic Nepali people are good in mingling with others, I think. Yeah, that way they are more friendlier,
That's
more
really
open-minded,
Okay.
I must say.
good. That's great. So, can you see some good things that are happening in your community now that you've been here for
30
a number of years now? Yeah.
Yeah, being here over 30 years now, we have seen this small community grow.
Okay.
And now our community, once upon a time, people didn't know where Bhutan was, or some people didn't even know where Nepal was. If you tell them Nepal, then it's like, oh, where? And so, have you heard of Mount Everest? Yeah,
Everest.
oh, that's the country. Or, Bhutan is up in the Himalayas. Mount Everest? If you walk from Mount Everest, you will reach Bhutan too. So we used to just tell them that. And now we are over 700 people. We are growing
Here?
here in Winnipeg,
Oh, wow.
yes. And every festival, we are over 300 people in the gathering too. Not everybody will come, but then in different timings, the people will have job, the people will have so many other obligations to attend to. So at least we have 200 to 300 people every festival or every occasion that we celebrate. So that's really, really encouraging. People are they are helping each other. So, people are studying and getting into, now people are getting into different job markets, their professions. So we are spreading into different areas, different avenues, and now people are living in different parts of Winnipeg also. First we used to be, everyone was just in Fort Richmond.
Okay.
Now you will find Nepalis in Seven Oaks, you will find Nepalis in East Kildonan, you will find Nepalis in South Point or in Fort Richmond, Lindenwoods, anywhere you can find now.
So is that an indication that they're really
Growing up.
comfortable now in
Yes.
Winnipeg? Yes.
Yeah, they are mingling. And they are also intercaste marriage is happening too. So people are marrying into different ethnic group. So it's
Is there anything at all that you're concerned about, in your community?
The concern is when the young people are growing up, they might forget, and might say lest we forget, kind of thing. They might forget where they came from. So just to keep that, we also have a Nepali language class, and not very many people. Still, there are a lot of people who who can teach their children the language. But these children, when they grow up, they may not be able to teach them their language if there is no help.
Mm.
So we need that help. We need to seek that help.
Okay.
So there is a concern.
Mhm.
And, you know, as the people grow or the community grows, you will find good and bad both. So my wish is hopefully the goodness will prevail. Yes.
We're almost winding down, so can you comment on the issues of social justice, inclusion,
In here,
equity, and diversity? Yes, here, you know, in relation to, you know, community in relation to the bigger community.
as I told you, like Nepalis are a little bit open-minded in our community. You know, like adoption or community getting mixed up is they are fine with that. But probably they are shy, they are scared getting into the professional communities, because there are I told you about my husband. He was a teacher, right?
Mhm.
He used to take students to field trips,
Okay.
and when you go to the field trip, the teachers will have to, he used to come and tell me the stories, you know. The guide or whoever, or like whoever is receiving end,
Mhm.
they will have to sign the paper, and or the teacher has to sign
Right.
the paper, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And my husband used to go as a teacher, and there would be a TA, a white lady, or you know, like white gentleman or something like that. And the bus driver is also usually white, right?
Okay.
So this particular, you know, whoever is the guide will go straight past my husband, go to the TA or go to the driver if they're standing next to get it signed.
Yes.
And they will
So
say,
it's-
oh yeah, he's the teacher. Then that person will come back and,
It's still there, yes.
so I don't know how much it has, like, I mean, improved now, but then it used to be like that. He said like several times it happened.
Okay.
So that was, it's kind of socially, you know, like, I mean, but probably now, hopefully with the time,
Better.
yeah, with the time everything ripens, right? So the thinking ripens of people, like hopefully we're getting better and better, because Canada is such, we are one, but we are diverse,
That's right.
and we can absorb.
And
Canada
we
can
respect each
absorb.
other. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because it's not like, even in US, like, I mean, it's that they have, like, you know, different communities, they have all these rights and things like that. It's less in Canada, because Canada you can stand, you know, like as you are,
Mhm.
even in the diversity, like
Right.
even in this whole, there are so many differences, you can stand up as equal, or you can also, you know, like in a diverse group, you can stand out too.
Yes.
So it's,
Yes. And it's a continuous, it's work in progress all the time, isn't it? You
It
know,
is.
we've been moving forward, but there's still work to be done.
yes, even in agriculture, in my department, like, I mean, we, like I myself, if I go to the, you know, I go to the farms,
Mhm.
I used to go to the farms, and they used to just look at me like, what is this little girl? Does she know anything about the crops, kind of thing? They used to just look at me.
Right. Mhm.
So from that, now they have, because agriculture people, the farmers are the core people here,
Mhm.
and they are not builders, but then like they are main part of the community here, right? Now they are getting better. Now you go, they will talk to you right away.
Okay. That's great.
So I used to be scared before, like I mean, when I used to go, like people, because I didn't know much about them and they didn't know much about me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can talk to anybody and they can talk to me. So things are progressing, and as I told you, like with time, everything will get into place. Hope. That's
Yes.
our wish. What's that? It's a wish. Wishful thinking.
Yes, and I guess with all the work that's being done and what we're doing now, where we're sharing stories, hopefully would, sort of open the eyes of people as to the different peoples we have here in Canada. And, for instance, what you're bringing in is a concept coming from your country of happiness being the gross national state that's more than the gross national product is given a lot of importance, and it also brings to the fore to us the idea of people coming from Bhutan who also has similar systems like the education and Medicare, and it opens the eyes of a lot of people, giving credit to countries that probably they have no idea the kind of life that they've experienced. So coming over and being part of our multicultural society, it's good that the Bhutanese people are finding Winnipeg home, and hopefully moving forward, we can get to a point where we can all enjoy the happiness, bar that the Bhutanese government has. And so we'll be hearing more stories. Please tune in. Sorry.
Okay, one more sentence.
Okay.
Like I just wanted to add in here that I talked about the southern Buddhists only at the moment, right?
Yes.
Sorry about that. We also have. I recently went to Toronto, and now I know that there are about 300 Bhutanese people. Like the Tibetan origin people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different culture. We are different cultures, like one is Nepali culture, the other one is Tibetan culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those people are here too. So we are so happy that we are meeting here as well.
Okay.
So
All right.
hopefully
Yes.
in future they will also settle here, and we will be part of the bigger community.
Yes, for sure. So, stories like this you'll be hearing a lot. We try to invite people coming from different parts of the world to share their stories, to make our lives more enriched, more meaningful. So thank you. This is Perla Habate, your host. Thank you.